G'day guys and welcome to MotoringBox. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you can cheaply and easily clean and detail the exterior of your car, spending bugger all money in the process. So stick around. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is my year 2000 model VT Calais, which I picked up about a month ago. And during that time, we have already cleaned and detailed the interior and gotten some fantastic results. So now it's time to do the same to the exterior. Now this car is 20 years old this year and it has its fair share of scrapes and even a dent here in the front guard. But this video is all about making the best of what you've got. And you really would be surprised what you can achieve with a bit of time and effort using basic equipment. So it is hot as fuck out here today, guys. So let's go find some shade and get started.
This video is for everyone out there who's on a strict budget, exterior detailing the cheap and easy way. So here's what you're gonna need: a bucket, 2 sponges, and the car washing solution of your choice. If your alloy wheels are quite difficult to clean, then a wheel cleaning brush will come in handy here, and you're also going to need a wax to protect your paint after it's been cleaned. If you're on a budget, then a simple corded drill like this one I picked up 10 years ago from Bunnings will absolutely do the job. You'll also need a polishing cone or some sort of buffer to attach to your drill. If tire shine's your thing, then grab a can of that and also a couple of cloths. And lastly, you're also going to need some detailing clay. This stuff can be picked up off eBay for around $5 a piece. And the next step is to wash your car, making sure that you hose it off first to remove any loose contaminants from the paint. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to wash a car, but just go over the paint and get off as much of the muck and dirt as possible. It's going to make the job later on a lot easier. At this stage, we're going to ignore the wheels and the wheel arches because these areas tend to have a lot more grit and dirt, and we don't really want to mix that into our bucket and be spreading it around the paint. So don't worry, we'll hit those later on. Once you're happy with how the car's looking, give it a quick hose off to get rid of all the soap. Now this is a great moment to inspect your paint. If it still feels a little bit rough or gritty to the touch, then you're going to need a clay bar. And if you want more information on how this process works, then check out the Polishing a Turd video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below. The process is actually incredibly easy. All you have to do is refill your bucket with soapy water and then rub the clay bar across it. You don't really need to apply much pressure here because the clay bar will simply grab the contaminants as it glides over the top. Clay bars are also fantastic at removing light scuffs like these fingernail scratches under the door handles, and are also fantastic for use on other hard surfaces like windows, headlights, and taillights. Basically anything that isn't rubber is fair game for a clay bar. And you can also use a clay bar to remove some of the crap that gets stuck around badges on your car. Once you've gone over the entire car, make sure you give it a hose off to remove any contaminants which the clay bar has dislodged. And at this point, it's a great idea to give your car a wipe down with a microfiber cloth. While you're letting the rest of the car dry, we're going to refill our bucket with soapy water and use our alternate sponge to start scrubbing the wheels. As you can see, it's going to be a little bit difficult to try and get the sponge into some of the crevices of this wheel design, so this is where the wheel brush comes in handy. As you can see, this brush is almost perfectly designed for this style of wheel. It really helps make wheel cleaning a hell of a lot easier. You can also use the brush to scrub the sidewalls of your tires before hosing everything off. This particular brush is also fantastic at cleaning the inner areas of your wheel arch, as a lot of mud and other dirt will tend to build up in these areas. On a daily driven vehicle like this one, I usually don't go over the top with this because it'll start to build up again quite quickly. And really, we're not about to enter this car into a car show or any other concourse event like that, so you don't really need to go to too much effort here in my opinion. Things are really starting to look fantastic here, so it's time to start the last part of the process, which is to apply the wax. So here we have my 10-year-old drill, which I bought from Bunnings for about $40, with my polishing cone attached. And the wax which we're going to be using here is the Meguiar's Wet Look liquid wax. Squirt some of it onto the panel and then start to rub it around with the polishing cone, because if you don't do this, it'll actually start to flick around if you simply hit it with the polishing cone in motion. Making sure that you go over all areas of paint at least a couple of times before you buff it off with a microfiber cloth. At this point, I like to show you what the panel is like before and after you've applied the wax. The left side of the boot has been cleaned and given a once over with the clay bar, but moving it across to the side which has been waxed will cause it to start sliding, showing you just how smooth this paintwork is now. So here's the fun part. You now have to go over the entire car, working in the wax and then buffing it off with the cloth. This is probably the most time-intensive part of this whole process, so make sure you set aside a couple of hours to do the job properly. Just like the clay bar, the wax can also be applied to most hard surfaces on the car, including the windows, headlights, and also the tail lights. Once you've worked the wax into the whole car, wipe it down with a cloth and we can then move our attention back to the wheels. We're going to use the wax on these wheels as well to help give them a little bit more shine. Work in the wax with the polishing cone before buffing it off with the cloth. Now, if you're like me, you'd like to apply some tyre shine at the end here, but this is entirely optional. It's something that people either seem to love or hate, so it's really up to you. And we've reached the end of the road, the job's done. And while the car is looking fantastic in the garage, let's take it outside and have a look at what we've achieved.
Out of my head, why won't you tell me?
Holy shit! Would you take a look at this, guys? This 20-year-old VT Calais now has a new lease of life and is looking absolutely fantastic. Now I know there was nothing wrong with how this car looked before, but after a proper wash, going over with the clay bar and then finally polishing it with the wax, it has really helped this 20-year-old paint pop. You know, polishing up a car like this can really change your opinion of how you feel about it when you look at it and even when you drive it. It might just help you fall in love with your old vehicle once again. And that's it, guys. I spent about 4 hours today in the searing Australian summer heat, getting this car into the condition that you see before you. And whilst I am incredibly satisfied, I am also incredibly tired. See you next time.